eNCA reporter Lindokuhle Xulu joins us now for an update on that story. And Lindo, the issue of leadership done and dusted, Dada Morero talking a renewal of the ANC and also now feeling buoyed to actually take on the coalition government led by the Democratic Alliance.
Well, that's right, Tulas. Dada Morero leading in terms of the chairperson of the ANC in the region of Johannesburg. But I can tell you that there are a lot of people that will be disappointed, over 140 of them that had voted for Mama Eunice Mgcina. And this was all because they wanted to see change in terms of the leadership aspect of the ANC. They've been speaking about issues of saying that Bafuna women on top, they want females to start leading the movement. And they believe that the women can do better. In fact, I can tell you that one of the people that was calling for that was the chairperson of the ANC Youth League, rather Women's League, saying that it is time for women to take this region and take it over. But one of the people again that was also echoing the same sentiments was Umama Uloyiso Masuku, who was basically saying that it's time for women to lead this particular region. She's one of the women that in fact was able to get a position as the Deputy Secretary of the African National Congress in the Greater Johannesburg region. We are going to touch base with her now just to get her sentiments around the fact that it's played out the way that it's played out. Thank you so much for joining us. Just give us a sense of what I believe is disappointment in terms of how the votes have turned out. Baba Dada Morero is the chairperson of the ANC, but it is not something you were wishing for. Give us your sentiments about the new top 5 of the ANC in the region of Johannesburg.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. We are disappointed that the preferred candidate, Eunice, did not make it, particularly because we felt it was time that we put women to lead in our region. You know, she is actually an example because she actually challenged a position that has never ever been contested by any woman in this region. This was the 15th regional congress of the ANC in Johannesburg. So for us, it's that on its own, it's comforting, the fact that she accepted nomination after the requests that we made for her to avail herself. We accept the outcome of the election. We respect that there is leadership that has been elected, and we have to rally behind that leadership collective of the office bearers of Greater Johannesburg region. I'm disappointed and rather pained that I am the only female who happened to make it. For me, it signals a regression as it relates to women in positions of leadership, because in the previous term there would have been 2.
I'll ask you about the fact what Ubabu Dada Morero said about the fact that leadership does not end with the top 5. There are still the additional members of the REC that must be elected. But first of all, let me start here. Take your disappointment into consideration and also tell me, why is it that you've believed Mama Eunice Mgcina would then be the right person to take over this region as chairperson, because it cannot only be about the fact that she's female. There are a lot of credentials that you believe would have been there for her to be nominated and for you to have wished that she would be elected. Just take us through why you believe Mama Eunice Mgcina would have been the right candidate to take the region forward, especially a region that is not in governance and a region that still also needs to work on the fact that we're going towards 2024 where elections are coming.
Comrade Eunice is actually one of the first youngest female deputy chairpersons of the ANC Youth League. She comes from the ranks of the movement. Just before she turned 20, she became the deputy chairperson of the ANC Youth League to the late chairperson of the Youth League then, Comrade Jeff Makubo. In fact, before she occupied that position, she had been a volunteer in the PCO as well, in the PCO in Midrand, where she hails from. So that on its own, and then she grew within the REC. She served in the REC as an additional member. She worked in the council where she was a councillor with no deployment. She was a councillor. When the ANC was in opposition, she also led in the ANC as a deputy chief whip when the movement lost in 2016. So you can see she holds both the organizational capacity as well as the ability as it relates to governance. I think you will recall she also became an MMC. So in our quest to also reclaim the city of Johannesburg, she's very instrumental. Currently, you would know she was also the deputy chairperson, and that's why she was then, when we were converted, she became the convener. Yeah. Currently, she is the chief whip of the ANC in caucus, and she's steering the ship. And proudly so, and she commands the respect, and I think her credentials were for me made sense of why she should be supported, just over and above the fact that she's a woman. But we will never be apologetic about supporting women, because if we don't support other women into these positions of leadership, we are therefore saying that it means we are the only capable ones. So we must, at any given point, when the opportunity arises, affirm other women. Let's affirm them and elevate them so that they can take up leadership positions in the African National Congress, as well as leadership positions in society, as well as in governance structures.
Just the last question from myself then. You are speaking about someone you're portraying as a capable leader. Unfortunately, they did not make the cut in terms of that particular threshold to actually lead this particular region. But talk to us then about the fact that, are you willing to work with the current leadership for the better of the ANC, because it's not in a good condition as far as the majority that it enjoys. It's not enough to actually lead in governance, but also at the same time, Dada Morero also spoke about the fact that it's not just these top 5. There are still additional members that need to be considered for those demographics to be balanced in terms of whether women and men are meeting that threshold. Talk to us about whether you believe in that, and also whether you're willing to work with this particular leadership to take the city of Johannesburg, and as well as to take the ANC in the region of Johannesburg forward.
There's 20 additional members, the RSC, that have to be elected. We've already done the nomination process, so it's elections now. We will balance that. It's a non-negotiable, because of our organization obviously believes in it, and it reaffirms what it is that we stand for as members of the ANC and members of the ANC Women's League. So that is a given. Most certainly, look, the ANC is in a renewal process, and the reason why there is a conference, the conference is not only about just election. It's also when we went to the Commission, for example, for organizational renewal, we spoke about the important things that we have to do in building our branches. And in building our branches, you are not going to do it if you are not cohesive as a leadership collective. So Comrade Dada and I have congratulated each other. We met earlier on, and we sat on stage together with the other comrades. And I think we've made a commitment that for us, this is about Johannesburg, the people of Johannesburg. This is an outcome of unity and the will of branches. And ours is to make sure that we don't disappoint them. We dare not fail, because if our program is to make sure that we retain the city, as you were saying, for the sole purpose of having the ability to transform people's lives, because as the ANC, our intention is to transform the lives of our people in Johannesburg, because the current administration of the Democratic Alliance and their multi-party are not interested in that. They are not focusing on that. They don't have a vision for our people. Instead, they are reversing all the programs that were instrumental in the developmental agenda and the transformation of our people in Johannesburg. So most definitely, it is important. Delegates have spoken. We have to work for a united and a renewed African National Congress in Johannesburg.
Let's leave it there for now. Thank you so much for engaging with us. Mamloyiso Masuku, the elected Deputy Secretary of the Greater Johannesburg region of the ANC, just giving us a sense really of some of what are her disappointments as far as women are concerned in leadership positions, but also taking us through the fact that it's a collective effort in terms of trying to regain the trust, but also regain governance to bring the necessary services to the people of Johannesburg to us.
All right, thank you for that. That's eNCA's Lindokuhle Xulu watching the Johannesburg Regional Conference of the ANC. We are on standby.